Welcome to my basic tutorial videos for Unity for worlds and also avatars. This one's going to be about some of the basics and worlds, just getting started. First thing you're going to want to do is download the correct version of Unity for VRChat or for whatever you're going to be building for, but most of my tutorials are going to be currently for VRChat. So you're going to want to download the correct one from VRChat's website, which will link you to the Unity page where to download it. Then all you do is just open up. This is a little bit different because this is Unity Hub, because I have both for this and Show Out VR. But then you just open up, name your project. I would suggest setting the location where you want to store this to a normal spinny hard drive. Unity seems to like that better than a solid state drive. And then just hit create. It will take a little bit to open the first time. And there we go. So once you get Unity open, very first thing you're going to need to do is import the SDK package for your VRChat. So if you'd be doing a 2.0, you're going to be importing SDK2. You could be doing 3. Udon, you're going to be importing that. And make sure you actually import the right SDK3, because SDK3 is actually separated into 2 different ones, worlds and also avatars. But this, we're going to do the basics for SDK2. So there it is, open, and then just click import, and it'll take a little bit to import. Okay, now that's all imported, the next thing you're going to want to do is do some other setup inside of Unity. One thing I like to do is I like to go up to here to the VRChat SDK, show control panel, and this is where you sign in. One of the first things you're going to want to do, whether you're for world or for avatars, is go into settings, turn off this future proof. I haven't seen any benefit for it. All I know is it just takes way longer to upload when that's on. But drag, if you click on this little top bar where the VRChat SDK is, then you can actually drag it to your menu bar up here, which is very handy because then you just have everything right along here. And you can do this for other stuff. You can see how I added animator in there too. So the next tools I like to use is Pro Builder and Pro Grids. Let's get those installed up here by clicking on Window and then Package Manager. And to be able to see all the packages, you're going to click on Advanced and click on Show Preview Packages. Take a second to load, and then scroll down and look for Pro Builder. Click on it, click Install, and it will install. So after that's done, scroll down again, look for Pro Grids, click Install. These 2 programs are very, very useful in making your life before building easier, unless you're going to be using prefabs and stuff, but still, there's so many things they can do with these 2 tools. I mean, Pro Grids really just helps you with the grids and lining stuff up. You can adjust how big of a snap space. I like to set this, I used to set it to 0.02. Now I set it to 0.01 because I like getting more fine detail. It seems to work a lot better. So to add your toolbar for Pro Builder, you just click on Tools up here. Pro Grids is already there. Click on Pro Builder window. Poof, there it is over here on the right. And then you can do the same thing as the VRChat SDK window. You can click on this and snap it up here. I like to have it in this order because Inspector you use a lot for when you're editing things, and then Pro Builder is obviously the second most used thing, and then Lighting is the third most used thing. Since we're on lighting right now, the way you add lighting, you just go to Windows, Rendering, Light Settings, and that opens up this over here, and you can drag and snap it up there just like I did here. Very first thing you're going to want to turn off, unless you have some super duper computer that can bake the lighting really quick, which I doubt there's any computer that can do that quick, where it's not lagging you and slowing you down once your world starts getting bigger. Uncheck this auto generate lighting down here and just manually generate lighting once you're ready to do that later on. Okay, let's go ahead and get some of the basics down. Now, there's two main things, actually three, depending on how you're going to build your world and how you want to build your world. You can do one of three different things. You can go up to game objects, do 3D objects, and do terrain, which will put down this terrain layer. And you can work from this to start your main, if you're gonna do more like an outdoorsy area, or if you got a house with an outside yard or something like that. Because then up in here, you can paint the terrain, you can raise and lower the terrain. It is pretty cool what you can do. You can do this, you can choose all sorts of different things to choose different type of features and how stuff looks. But we're not going to start with terrain on this one. Mostly what I do now is build indoor stuff. So what I do is I go up to new shape, which will create a cube, and then what I do is get this cube positioned into the 0 spot. You always want to start your world zeroed out positioned. You just change it right up here in Inspector under Transform, and you can use this to build your house, your land, anything like that. And you can change the shape of it by clicking on these little tools up here at the top. The very first thing I do is I do face selection, and then I lower this down to the thickness I want for the floor. And the nice thing about Pro Grids and Pro Butter, you get these nice little segments here so you can really see how thick it is. Usually for walls I go by the thickness. For the floor I'll go down till about there, and you can actually see the size of this, the thickness over here in the inspector. So if you really want to get really detailed, you can. Other neat thing about these, this is all 1 meter, so 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, and that makes it very helpful when you're trying to make some real life, because it's, if you're anywhere outside the US, you already used a metric system. Inside the US, that's 3 feet, so it's very easy to figure it out. So now if you want to make this bigger, you click on the side that you want to drag out, just click on it, drag it out, and we can stop right there, and look, I happen to nail it perfectly, 6. And I do the same thing in this way, drag it out. Let's see if I can nail it too. Close enough, but you can get more detailed if you want. Now, there's 2 ways you can start building walls. I don't like doing it this way unless you want everything to be the same texture in the end. I've had problems with changing the textures when I do it this way. It's great when you're doing walls that you want all the same, but I usually just build a floor this way, and then I build another cube like this, get it zeroed out, raise it up 0.04, make it flush with this. And that's the nice thing, is if you're good with math, basic math, using this to line stuff up is way more useful than trying to do it this way. Then make my wall thickness, which I usually like to do to about that thickness, which is same as the floor. And then we can drag this way. Now, this is where I like to do the walls like this. It doesn't really matter too much if you keep the thickness the same, unless you care about the thickness the same, but so you stop a little bit before the edge, like that, and then if you hold shift and then click on the little drag arrow, you will see it'll make a new segment, and you can let go as soon as you start dragging. And now this is a separate face. The cool thing about that is now you can click on that, hold shift again, click on the blue, drag this way. Now you just made a wall like that, which is very handy when you care about these walls being the same texture files when you start adding textures to them. So that's the basics of using ProBuilder and ProGrids. You can do a lot more in here, a lot more in depth. I'll probably make other tutorials in the future, but you can do different shapes by clicking up here, go into here, prism, all sorts of things. Doors. The doors don't really work too well. I use the pipe and cones quite a bit for making cool shapes, even arches, because you can turn them on the side and make all sorts of different things. I've used the stairs for making cool rooms, walls. You can turn them on the side to make them really thin. You can adjust all the parameters here, the width and stuff like that. It's really nice. So the next thing I want to go into is the basics of also setting up your world, because you can't upload this to VRC yet or anything. So over on the left here, under assets, under project, you'll see VRChat examples and SDK. And under here you get a bunch of different things. Under the prefabs, some very helpful things that you'll use quite a bit, because everybody wants mirrors, everybody likes chairs pretty much. But also other very helpful thing, took me a bit to figure out at first, thanks to Cooper Tom, VRC worlds. This is everything you need to get the basics of your world set up. So you just click on this, drag it up into here. I usually like to set it up top above the main camera. I try to keep this all nice and clean. And then under here, VRC worlds, under inspector, you got your VRC scene descriptor and a pipeline manager, everything you need to upload your world, and even some other options. You can change stuff in here. Another thing I suggest doing when you're setting up and building your world for the first time, which I didn't do right off the bat, but I like to keep everything organized. So the way you can do that is right click on here, do create empty, right click on it and do house, and then you can copy all your main stuff into the house. Now all this stuff is under house, and then like you can do another create empty or a couple of them and do lighting. You can do say, I don't know, call this sounds, because if you have sound effects and other stuff like that, and just keep it all organized, keep it like that, and you can even do multiple different areas. It just makes it so much easier. One other thing I forgot to mention after adding the VRC world prefab is up here under VRC SDK. When you go to builder, this is how you upload. It actually will do all the setups for you. Just click on these, do it, and there you go. You're all ready to go. And you can also do, if you're actually running this on your system that has Steam installed, you can go in here and do build and test locally. You can check this box for non-VR. Obviously, you're probably going to do non-VR for when you're testing. And you can build it and test it locally, or you can just go ahead and build and publish online for Windows. And you can switch to Android if you're going to be building this for Quest and stuff like that. So that's the basics of getting started in world building. In other tutorials in the future, I'll do the basics of doing lighting correctly, doing other things here and there, being able to add jump run and all that. I'm just keeping these tutorial videos really short. This first one's a little bit longer because it's just to get you up and running, the basics. And then I'll make other shorter videos to talk about lighting, talk about doing mirrors and doing other things to add buttons, triggers, seating, things like that. So this will definitely get you started and get you up and running.